Now I want to show you some other things like scaling. What is scaling? If you want to make something bigger or smaller with some proportions, you go for scaling. So if I go to insert, go to transformation feature, scaling is one of the options here. And I select it, and then it says, what is the reference? I mean, one point that is going to be used as a reference for the scaling. Let's say that this is my point of reference, the edge of this. And then there is a green handler here that I can get it and make it bigger or smaller. You can see a preview of what is happening here. Or you can go to ratio here and change whatever you want. Let's say that I want to make this 75% its original size. So I just type 77.5 and click on OK. You can see that scaling is done very nicely. What if I want to move other things or change other things? You saw that whatever I did here was effective on the whole body. I can use some other feature like constraints, and you have seen constraints on 2D objects. Here I'm going to show you both of them. I want to show you what happens if you constrain a 2D object like a sketch and the effect of that on the features that are created based on those sketches. Or I can show you some 3D constraints here. How can I do that? Let's go to sketch that is used to create this path. So if I double click on this sketch 2, this is what I have created here. So let's say that I want to add some constraints to this. I want to go and click on this circle, and you can see the center of the circle is here. So what I need to have really is the center of circle. So I just go and click on this. That is the center of my circle. Press Ctrl key and select this line. And now go and select this constraint dialog box that is constraint defined. What I need to have is a distance. And you can see that the distance is something like 20 millimeters here. If I want to change it, I can easily double click on that. You can see that I can change it to anything. Like I want to have something like 30 millimeters. So if I click on that, you see that the circle moves to reflect this change. I also can have other types of constraint, like let's click on this and go and select this one. Here you can see that I have a diameter. I can click here, diameter is 20 millimeter. I can double click on that. I can go for diameter or radius here. It doesn't really matter which one. I just want to have this something like 30 millimeters and click on OK, and that's it. You see that I can change everything. And also I want to click on the center, press Ctrl key and click on this line, and then go and release the Control key and go to constraint. You can see that it gives me this. Again, I can change it to, let's say, 30 millimeters. Whatever I do more than this is going to be over constraining. Right now you can see the circle is green. This means that this is totally defined, wholly defined. So if I exit my workbench, everything is correctly done. Now, what about other types of constraints that I can define in 3D? It is possible to do that. If I go to Insert menu here, I can see Constraint submenu here, and here we have Constraint. Let's say that I want to click on this. I want to select this plane, and I want to go and select this line, that is the edge. And you can see some constraints here. It says it is about 100 millimeters away from this plane. So if I double click on this, I can make this, let's say, 80 millimeters. And if I click on that, you can see that the object moves to, or you can say translates to reflect what we did here. And also I can click on this plane, press Ctrl key, go and click on this edge, and here I can go to constraints. I can go to constraints defined in a dialog box. Both of them are possible. Here it says, because I have selected these two, I can check the length, check the angle, check the stance, fix them, make sure that they are parallel, or make sure they are perpendicular, or have a coincidence. What I need to have is the distance. So I click on this and I click on OK. Right now it says 150 millimeters. That's what I want to have. So this is defining constraints in 3D. What if I want to define some other constraints here? Let's say that I go here and click on the circle around the pad, and I go to insert constraints and select constraint, you can see that it says the diameter is 30, but it says unavailable constraint. That's because I have fully defined this path when I was creating the sketch for that. So that's not a good option to over constrain something. If you have done it in two-dimensional environment, you don't have to go to three-dimensional environment to reflect something that you need to. But here, everything is correctly done because we have no problem with that. We haven't defined these before. Let's say that I want to click on here and add a constraints, and I can go to constraints and select constraints. Here it says the length is available for this, and it says 350, so I can double click on that. It says it is inside parentheses because we cannot change it. Maybe that is because we have done it in our sketch. If I double click on a sketch, you can see that as a matter of fact the distances are defined for us and we cannot change them. So I exit my workbench and I just use those constraints that I have previously created for myself.